Tonight on News 5 Live, port strike enters day 7. Shipping companies reroute or take goods back to the U.S. And the Prime Minister says border reopening February 1st is a go. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average of about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash. She remembers that Ekash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the Ekash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link. She taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made. Then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier.
If you're looking for low-cost television advertising, have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you save valuable time and money. Call us today at 223-0146 or visit us at our offices on Pony Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, January 26th. I am Annalyn Apollonio. The standstill at the Port of Belize Limited is now in its 7th day. Some ships have already turned back, causing importers to activate contingency plans. Shipping agents are looking to their only alternative, the Big Creek Port in Independence Village. But where the Port of Belize Limited offers proximity to many of its clients, using Big Creek means trucking containers much farther, potentially driving up costs for consumers. News 5's Paul Lopez reports.
If we don't sell, we can't pay our farmers. We can't pay our workers. We have 80 farmers that produce pepper for us. We have 10 farmers that produce fruits for us that we do our jams. We have close to 90 workers at the factory. We work with trucking companies, Mr. Lopez, that have to truck our goods to the port and back. Even they're asking me, Jody, this is really messed up because they have their mortgages to pay, they have their loans to pay, and they say, if this doesn't come to an end soon, they will not be able to meet their bank payments.
Maurice Sharp's Fine Food Limited has their eyes on the Big Creek port as an alternative to ship their products and to receive operational goods.
I know right now there's been talk about shifting some of the agents are talking about shifting some of these boats to the Big Creek. It's extra cost, but sometimes we might have to take that extra cost because having our shipments out there at sea not coming to the Belize port and just there, the ship won't stay there and just park there. That's their time moving. They have a schedule to actually make. So if the containers, the imports don't come off the ship, they have to go back where they came from with the containers, and it will cost us, the importers, even persons that are bringing in vehicles, parts, medical supplies. Everyone is actually being affected by this. If it goes back to Miami, it will cost us double or more than if we try to diverge these shipments to the Big Creek port.
Roy Martinez, Regional Commercial Director at ASR BSI, says vessel agents have noted with great concern the repetitive nature of the disputes at the Port of Belize Limited. Those vessels are beginning to look at the Big Creek port.
This is the first time that I've actually seen the vessel agents, actually some of them, not all of them, rumor and talk a lot more about, we got to start looking at a contingency plan. Do we start going and calling Big Creek? Maybe not 100%, but at least on a consistent base. What percentage of our sailings how much time do we call? Because we need to have a contingency plan, because there might be a moment, this could be it, where there's really no, that's something that's a lot of that should worry us all. I mean, even with the container exports, I mean, again, we're growing more and more our container exports because of our DC production. So all that is going through Port of Belize. If the container line stop calling Port of Belize, or if they start calling Big Creek, that's going to force us to also have to follow where they follow. I mean, we have to. There's just no way.
And this morning, Prime Minister John Brisenia confirmed that ships are already moving to Big Creek port until the labor dispute is resolved.
Yes, it is affecting everyone because then the cost of goods will go up, because if the ships can't offload, then by the time it does, the cost of those containers will go up, and it will eventually reach to all of us. So yes, it is affecting everyone. We're just urging the CW and the port to sit down and to talk, and not just point fingers at one another, and to try to find a compromise so that we can move forward. What I do know now, what is happening now, is now that more and more ships will be going down south until this is resolved.
Belizean Queen Freight Services informed its customers via social media that one ship actually returned to the U.S. on Monday with all their cargo, while a smaller one has been allowed to dock at the port in southern Belize.
In previous times, some people at their corporate in Germany or corporate in France say, aren't there other ports? I've seen the emails. Let's look at, and the regional people that sit in either Brazil or in Miami or in Mexico, they say, no, that's not a contingency. This is the first time that I've seen them say, you know what, maybe we should look at a contingency.
The distance from southern Belize to Belize City will increase the cost of local goods in the supermarkets, forcing prices up.
We would have to get the truckers to go to Big Creek to get the containers from there and then truck it from Big Creek to our warehouses in town. So that would be an additional inland freight charge that obviously will have to be added into the costing of our goods.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
In an attempt to loosen the logjam at the Port of Belize Limited brought on by the striking stevedores, the minister responsible for logistics, Michelle Shabat, has reportedly been in conversation with both PBL and the CWU. Reports are that the government of Belize has proposed a compromise to the union, and the PM says a response is expected soon. He was not prepared to disclose the details of the proposition, however.
What we're doing is that the minister has been engaged with the stevedores and talking to them and trying to find an end to the impasse, and also then to try to find a long-term solution to the issues that the stevedores have been facing for quite some time now.
They are disappointed in you, sir, because they believe that you would have intervened in the way you intervened with the cane farmers and BSIS up in the north.
Well, they never did call me to ask me if I can help. I have met with them before. I met with them in October and also in November. And then our Minister Shabat has been dealing with them directly from the start, from last week. So we have not stepped back. We have been working with them closely to try to find a compromise. But a compromise means not just your way, but both sides have to give in to be able to find a compromise. And so the CWU also needs to find a way how they can come to some kind of compromise in some of their demands.
We also reached out to the president of the CWU this morning, Evan Mose-Hyde, who informed us that there was nothing to report at that time. And while the impasse continues between stevedores and the Port of Belize, shipments that were destined to be processed through that entry and exit point have been channeled through the Big Creek port in Stan Creek. While that has not created any bottlenecks in the traffic at that southern facility, the impasse is creating higher freight costs and inconveniences that Minister of State Dr. Louis Sabané says he hopes are soon rectified.
For our government, it is something that's very important to us that we try to get that resolved as early as possible, because it is affecting everybody. It's affecting the entire country, and especially the persons from lower socioeconomic status, because that's where we see the prices of goods going up. So the best that I can say is that I am hopeful that the discussions will yield a result that is going to be acceptable to both sides, because we must have the Port of Belize functioning again.
Can the government have meaningful input in this process?
Well, the government is always there to ensure that when these things occur, that we find ways for the best solutions. So it's within our interest as the government. It's very important that those parties find a resolution that will end up having the port reopen again.
Coming up, will you be able to go to Chetumal and Melchor next month? The Prime Minister answers when we return.
Digi, the premier name in voice and data, is also the country's leading provider of innovative services and solutions for small business and enterprise. At Digibusiness, we offer solutions, tools, and applications to support your business needs. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and excel in a changing world where no idea is too big and no task is too small. From technology advising to design implementation and management, our team of qualified solution sales and specialists can develop a reliable and robust infrastructure, allowing you to spend more time on what matters most, your business. Visit us online to explore how Digibusiness innovative products and solutions can help your business reduce costs and improve efficiency.
I visited the land of Serbia, a great many miles away. I ascended the Mount Everest few people have conquered. I roared on the snow-covered Antarctic and Arctic. I rolled swiftly across the vast, untamed desert. Linglong Tire conquers every corner of the world.
Distributed by Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited. 2 miles Philip Wilson Highway, Belize City.
Beep Disinfectant Spray is certified by a U.S. EPA compliant lab to kill the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. Beep for a happy, healthy home.
New Year's is a time for us to make hearty resolutions that will help us better our lives, and then promptly forget about them. However, there are some resolutions we shouldn't forget about. Join us for our new series, 100%, where we'll be talking about being 100% in on things like our relationship with God, our spouses, finances, and more. Tune in at 10 a.m. right here on Channel 5 Belize.
Keep your business running efficiently with computer products and accessories from Cellular World. We are the largest electronics stores in Belize, providing business solutions from trusted brands including Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Samsung, just to name a few. Our range of business PCs and electronics include desktop computers, laptops, desktop monitors, mouses, battery backups, smart TVs, and computer accessories that are backed up by warranties to keep your business always running smoothly. Call or visit us at any of our 5 Cellular World locations in Belize City, Belmopan, or San Pedro, and let our knowledgeable team help you to find the right solutions. Cellular World, low prices, more choices.
Hospital Galenia es el único hospital de Quintana Roo en contar con la más completa unidad de medicina nuclear, poniendo a su alcance la mejor tecnología especializada de diagnóstico y tratamiento de enfermedades, en las que se utilizan cantidades muy pequeñas de radiofármacos para diagnosticar anomalías dentro del cuerpo. Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
Prime Minister John Briceño chimed in on the state of affairs within the United Democratic Party, referring to the domestic violence allegations against Patrick Faber as a pattern. As the UDP seeks to rebuild its internal leadership, PM Briceño noted that it is everyone's business to condemn domestic violence and offer support to victims.
I don't think that Patrick Faber had any option, that he had to resign. I mean, this has been a pattern, and it's something that we should not accept from anybody, to have this kind of violence against your partners, especially leaders in our country. So he had no choice. Well, now the UDP have to go back to the drawing board and try to find who is going to be their next leader now. I think that it is something that's a shameful behavior in our society. It is a lot more prevalent than what we think. And it's something that we must all condemn. And even the partner that is being bullied or being abused, also we need to stand by them and to give them the support. I know in many instances they feel that maybe they did something wrong. No, you did not do anything wrong. Your partner has no right to hit you or to be violent with you or to have any kind of abuse. So it is something that I feel strongly about and that we must condemn, and that as a society we have to do better. That's not just the politicians, but all of us.
This week, the neighboring state of Quintana Roo, Mexico that is, went to level orange on its 5-scale COVID-19 alerts. Orange is second highest, just below red, with a number of restrictions in place. That orange will be activated for the next week. But so far, the plan to reopen Belize's land borders by February 1st is still in effect. This morning, we asked Prime Minister John Briceño for an update. He confirmed that the plan to reopen the land border next week Tuesday is still a go. However, not much has been said about the regulations that will be enforced at the borders for Belizeans. It is possible that only the vaccinated will be allowed to cross the border.
Just imagine, in 1 year, we paid off the super bond, we saved $500 million for the Belizean people. We set up the blue bonds, and from that blue bond, we're setting up a permanent trust fund for marine conservation that by 2040 will be at $200 million. We signed a compact with the Millennium Challenge Corporation that we will be able to get grant money, free money maybe to as much as anywhere between 250 million US to 500 million US. We may get a little bit less than the 250 million US. We don't know because our population is small. It's just about 430,000. So that's a lot that we have accomplished in 1 year. And but it's not enough. We have a lot more to go. We have a lot more work ahead of us. Employment, we created 25,000 jobs in that 1 year. So unemployment fell from as high as 30% to about 10%. These are not numbers, my numbers, these are numbers from the SIB.
This morning, before today's meeting, Prime Minister John Briceño praised the efforts his administration has made in growing the local economy over the last year. But what will those successes mean for teachers and public servants?
I believe that we're going to be having a long meeting. We're going to be giving them, sharing them with the numbers, and then the consultation starts and will continue as to how we move forward. I know that the unions, rightly so, are looking how they can get back, if not all, at least a portion of the 10% that we had to cut because we did not have the money. And so, if we can, we will hope to do that. We're partners in this together.
Those numbers.
The success of the PUP government is simply because also the unions and the public service and teachers, they all cooperated for us to be able to get where we are.
How are those numbers looking?
Well, they are much better than what the IMF predicted, way better. The IMF predicted that we were going to have about 2% growth in GDP, and the latest numbers, it seems that we may be as much as 15%. Remember, in 2020, we had the economy contracted by over 16%, almost 17% it contracted. And in 1 year, our government managed to turn things around by working hard and get the economy going, giving the confidence to people and coming up with a plan. And that is why we have the success.
PM Briceño says Belize has a lot to be grateful for, with the economy rebounding, the Blue Bond, and now the Millennium Challenge Corporation funds. He maintains there is more to be done in terms of employment and other opportunities.
Just imagine, in 1 year, we paid off the super bond. We saved $500 million for the Belizean people. We set up the blue bonds, and from that blue bond, we're setting up a permanent trust fund for marine conservation that by 2040 will be at $200 million. We signed a compact with the Millennium Challenge Corporation that we will be able to get grant money, free money maybe to as much as anywhere between 250 million US to 500 million US. We may get a little bit less than the 250 million US. We don't know because our population is small. It's just about 430,000. So that's a lot that we have accomplished in 1 year. And but it's not enough. We have a lot more to go. We have a lot more work ahead of us. Employment, we created 25,000 jobs in that 1 year. So unemployment fell from as high as 30% to about 10%. These are not numbers, my numbers, these are numbers from the SIB.
The government of Belize is preparing to table a reported $16 million supplementary budget in the House of Representatives for the Ministry of Health. It will not be the first time the Briceño administration is going to the House to seek approval for further spending for health. In fact, it will be the third time in 2021-2020 fiscal year. Newly appointed Minister of Health Kevin Bernard has already alluded to the need for further financing as the COVID-19 pandemic rages on. Here is how the Prime Minister responded when asked if his former Minister of Health left the coffers empty.
It's a matter of what was necessary to do at that time. When you need more testing kits, when you need more medicines to fight the COVID, when you in your budget you are not approved the amount of medicine, the monies to buy all the medicines, then you have to do those things. So Shabbat did not leave the ministry broke.
So will you be going to the House for the supplementary budget?
Well, we have to if we want to pay it. That's the law.
Prime Minister John Briceño left the country today for Honduras to attend the inauguration of Xiomara Castro, the Central American nation's first woman president. Briceño also spoke this morning about upcoming regional meeting, including a CARICOM summit in March and efforts to strengthen relationships with both Central America and the Caribbean.
Today, the Foreign Minister and the CEO from Foreign Affairs, with myself, will go to Honduras. And tomorrow, there's going to be the inauguration of the new president, Xiomara Castro. And so we're going there to show our support as a member of SICA. And also, I've assumed the chairmanship of CARICOM, and we will have a summit of CARICOM on the 1st and 2nd of March. And then on the 3rd, we have now SICA will join us. So we're going to have a joint meeting with the presidents of Central America and the prime ministers of CARICOM on that day. Again, finding ways how we can strengthen relationships. If we in Belize can open markets in Central America, I mean, that would create immense opportunities for us. And likewise, SICA wants to see how they can create opportunities in CARICOM, and so they believe that Belize, being a member of SICA, would be the right person. So it's a lot of work, tedious, long work, but you need to have a vision as to where we're going, and that's what we're doing here.
After the break, making the most of local resources and talent. Some exciting projects at Caye Caulker.
Who offers the best mobile experience in Belize? You don't know? Well, the truth is, Digi, our national telecom, of course. Digi has the largest mobile LTE advanced network with over 96% countrywide coverage, offering the fastest mobile LTE data speeds at the most affordable rates with mobile plans that fit your lifestyle. The truth is, only Digi gives the ultimate mobile LTE experience. Visit your nearest Digi store to join the bigger, better network today. Digi, our national telecom. Visit us online at www.livedigi.com.
Child Development Foundation, or CDF as we are popularly known, has been partnering with Social Security Board since 2015. Social Security Board supports our child protection initiatives. They support us to build capacity for teachers and parents to identify the indicators of abuse. In particular, they support our counseling center so that we can provide trauma-focused counseling therapy to children who have been abused. Social Security has also supported our prevention program, the Rise Girls program, to help us to equip young women who are in primary and secondary school to understand more about adolescent development and also to build good self-esteem and to build safe social networks.
Over the past 6 years, we have established a partnership with the Social Security Board. It has assisted us in addressing some of their social welfare needs and health care needs of our older persons, specifically in Belize City, San Ignacio, and Belmopan. We have had the opportunity to do home visits with our geriatrician and physiotherapists. We distribute meals to them. We also have that opportunity to interact with them, to observe them. There are needs that may be identified. If we can address those, we do so.
Social Security has been one of our biggest donors throughout the years, and the services that they provide to us is basically financial, and it helps with a lot of things here at the center, like bills and groceries. The center is a drop-in center for the mentally ill, elderly, homeless, deportees. They come here, they take a shower, They get their breakfast, they get their lunch, and they also do recreational stuff here at the center. They can watch television, they listen to music, they play games, and they just, interact with each other, because here it's like a family.
The ministry is collaborating with SpeedNet Communications to have a vaccination campaign for children ages 12 to 17 years. Children who get vaccinated will get a chance to win fabulous prizes, including backpacks with supplies, Nintendo Switch, tablets, book tuitions, and MiFi with 3 months data. Only children 12 to 17 years old can participate in this Smart and Ministry of Health and Wellness raffle. At vaccination sites, each vaccinated child, upon being vaccinated, will receive a ticket to place their name, age, date of birth, BHIS number, and contact information on, which will be filled out by a parent or legal guardian. The sooner a person vaccinates, the more chances he or she will have to win. Get vaccinated, please. Vaccination saves lives.
A visit to the island of Caye Caulker today was different than it was 6 months ago. Tourism activity on La Isla Cariñosa was palpable, with many tour boats out at the reef and tourists basking in the sun and sand. The return of employment for most of the island residents has been welcoming. News 5 spoke with Caye Caulker chairlady Selene Villanueva Pot.
We've come a long way to where we were 2 years ago, March. Since the borders have been open, we're seeing a lot of tourists coming in, and we're very grateful for that. A lot of people have back their jobs. A lot of people are fending for themselves, and that is truly what we wanted. I believe the people of Caye Caulker are used to being independent and being on their own and fending for themselves. So this is where we are, and we're very grateful that we're seeing an increase in economic activity and an increase in tourism arrival.
So, like you said, it's bounced back to where it was in 2019?
We are nowhere near what we were pre-COVID, nowhere near, but we're very grateful that we have some activity. It will take us a while to get where we were pre-COVID, but we will take this for now. We've seen a lot of the hotels that were completely closed down, that they are reopening slowly. Most of them, in fact, have been open. We probably lost a couple businesses in the pandemic, but not all small businesses can go through the toll of a 2-year economic impact. So the best thing to do was to close their doors. But looking on the positive side, we're really happy that there's business going on the island, and we're able to maybe make a little bit more than just meeting the bills right now. So we're very grateful for that.
Like the rest of the country, COVID is on the island of Caye Caulker. With the Omicron and Delta variants in country, the village also saw an increase in COVID numbers earlier this month. But there has been a downward trend, and up to the end of last week, there were only about 20 active cases on the island. Villanueva Pot says that the numbers are down and they want it to keep that way.
We've seen an increase of Omicron all over the world. There's still Delta. So I wouldn't want to say that it's specific to just the tourism arrival. We've seen our cases fluctuate. Our numbers have gone high, and it's dipping back down now. We're grateful for that. So we're nowhere near where we were with our high cases. I don't have a specific number, Dwayne, but I do know that the numbers are declining. We're nowhere where we were maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's definitely been a dip, and we're grateful for that. COVID is here. This is probably our new way of life, and we have to be optimistic in what we do. We have to try and live as normal as possible, but we must take all the necessary precautions. We must wear our masks, we must social distance, sanitize. But I mean, being economically hurt by COVID, we felt that Caye Caulker know what that is, and I believe as business owners, we want to venture off and make make some money come in. So the community is really grateful for whatever tourism arrival we're getting.
This is Village Council election year, so News 5 asked the chairlady of Caye Caulker if she will recontest. After all, Selene Villanueva Pot is a 2-term Village Council chairlady and the 4th in her family to hold the post. She says yes if she has the support of Belize Rural South Area Representative Andrea Perez and Prime Minister John Briceño.
Dwayne, you've been tampering me with this question and I've been dodging it. Really, Dwayne, there's work still to be finished yet. It is a village council year. We still don't know when the elections will be. But to be honest, leadership under COVID has been very life-changing. Your perspective on a lot of things change. Your focus really becomes the people. And the only way I will run again is if I get the support from my party, from my area rep, and of course from the Prime Minister. But I would not contest any convention. I think it's too much to go through a convention. I would prefer, get their support and have that done. If it happens, I will.
Just ahead, the Customs Department celebrates its digital achievements. A report from Independence when we return, but first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
Electricity is an essential part of our daily lives. We use lights and household appliances every day. Therefore, we must ensure our homes are wired properly. At Benny's, we have certified wires with the right gauges and insulation. BEL certified meter sockets, authentic GE and Square D panel boxes and breakers, which protect your electrical system from being overloaded. When wiring your home, avoid imitation brands which can be very dangerous. Give yourself and your family peace of mind using genuine electrical products available at Benny's, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Hospital Galenia es el único hospital de Quintana Roo en contar con la más completa unidad de medicina nuclear, poniendo a su alcance la mejor tecnología especializada de diagnóstico y tratamiento de enfermedades, en las que se utilizan cantidades muy pequeñas de radiofármacos para diagnosticar anomalías dentro del cuerpo. Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
My parents always said, when it's time to build, invest in quality products that last a lifetime, even if it means paying a little more. It is now my turn to invest in my own home, and it's not even a question. It has to be Ovran Windows. My contractor recommends a RAN because of the heavy-duty construction, the thickest gauge blades on the market, and the dual locks that allow lower louvers to close independently for privacy while the top remains open for airflow. These features make a RAN aluminum louver windows the best on the market.
With a RAN aluminum louver windows, you get strength, durability, and beauty with an added layer of security and protection against debris and damaging winds. Come in and check out the variety of sizes and colors at Design Depot, located at Mile 3 Philip Goldson Highway in Belize City.
Bringing people together has always been SMART's mission and passion. That is why we are proud to have built a locally independent quality network from the ground up that spans the country with over 100 sites. We continue to add more affordable mobile data packages, broadband speeds, and voice services to meet your personal and business needs. SMART has set the standard of true competition with the most competitive prices on all services offered. We invite and welcome you to join the SMART family, where the value for your dollar matters. SMART will continue bringing new technologies, more affordable prices, network expansions, and people together. SMART, bringing people together.
It is one of the government's key revenue departments, and today the government of Belize commemorated International Customs Day. The ceremony this year was held in the Banana Belt in Independence Village, Sand Creek, with the theme Scaling Up Customs Digital Transformation by Embracing a Data Culture and Building a Data Ecosystem. News 5's Marian Ali files this report.
Since 2008, the Customs and Excise Department has been upgrading its system of operations from one of semi-automated to fully digitized. This has streamlined the system through which goods entering and departing Belize, making it more effective and resulting in increased revenues.
The department have exceeded its revenue collection target, setting a new monthly record in December 2021 by collecting $52.6 million. The result of a comparative analysis of last fiscal year 2020-21 and this current fiscal year 2021-22 shows an increase of 43.7% in revenue collection. This was as a result of using data to drive decision-making, strategy formulation, optimization of our resource allocation, as well as the use of risk-based management by our administration in our operations.
Comptroller of the Customs and Excise Department, Estella Bailey Leslie, told News 5 that with the continued upgrades of the department using the standardized Asikuda World Database, loopholes that once allowed for underhandedness are now minimized.
It takes away that discretionary power from the officer in that the system determines who gets examined. And so when you get green, there is no intervention. You know that you are supposed to take your shipment and you go. If you get red, then there is custom intervention. There is also electronic payment. Most of 24/7, the system is open for people to use. The shipping agency put in the manifest, the custom broker put in their declaration, you pay at the bank, and then you get your triggering of selectivity where it is processed through the risk management system, and the color channel that you get determine the kind of intervention customs will have on your shipment.
And do we still have that system whereby a minister can call and say, make me bally pass through or do a favor, and we all know what that means?
Right. Well, fortunately, again, that's what this system helps to reduce, because there's a traceability that, as you heard the comptroller mention today, one of the new innovations is these sailboats that are coming in, for example, that from before they even reach Belize, they can clear their manifest with the customs and be able to go right through the whole system. And so they don't have to be waiting for paperwork to be done, where then some political person has to call in. The system is there getting it done quickly, efficiently, and very transparently.
And it is that level of transparency that the government intends to see applied through digital systems across the country to help maximize our economic growth.
We always hear of evidence-based decision-making and critical thinking skills as being vital to successful transformation. At the heart of this approach is the utilization of accurate and timely data via modern statistical and programming software to estimate and quote-unquote see relationships and patterns that would otherwise miss the naked eye. Our government is committed to concentrate on the implementation of this approach and promote innovative technologies across our economy.
During today's ceremony, 20 customs officers were recognized for their stellar performance over the past year that resulted in the overall above-average yields that the department realized. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
The Stan Creek West constituency is comparatively the largest by far and spans the Banana Belt, a sector that fetches significant revenues for Belize. Stan Creek West area representative, who is also the Minister of Transport, Rodwell Ferguson, told News 5 today that he intends to build a causeway measuring less than a mile that would reduce the travel time and maximize the revenue opportunities among 3 key areas in that division.
Any civilized society, then you are trying to figure out how you can incorporate communities. We have St. Bite, Placencia, Independence. They are basically 5 minutes away from each other. But a body of water separates Independence from Placencia and St. Bite. In any industrialized world, that body of water may have to go on a bridge that they can have that communication and effectiveness. There's a port right across Independence. Imagine if I want to bring some cargo from Placencia or St. Bite, I have to drive maybe about 45 miles to come all the way around. It is not economically benefitable. And so as a representative, I'm seeking funds, and once I'm successful, there should be a causeway across the lagoon. Once I do it for consultation and the people is in agreement.
Okay, so how much are we talking about and how soon?
It will have to be within 4 years because the term is almost 3.5 years left. So within these 3.5 years, it must be done. So I'm pursuing to find the investor. So you're looking at a big investment. I can't give the figure now, but once the investment is done and cabinet agrees and government agrees, then it's going to be a toll bridge.
Since the reopening of schools on January 10th, there have been reports of teachers and students having COVID-19, but none of them were engaged in hybrid learning, and there have not been any reported COVID clusters originating at schools. Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Louis Sabane, told News 5 today that the reopening has proven to be so safe that others waiting to see how that first reopening would pan out are now prepared to join them.
The earlier we can detect a child having flu-like symptoms, the earlier we can take actions that could otherwise spill out into some larger infections. And so those protocols in place have helped significantly to ensure that we can continue to keep the schools open. And in fact, other schools now who are waiting to open are also opening as well.
In early December, we reported on an effort to encourage women and youth in entrepreneurship through a project called Enhancing the Economic Empowerment of Women in Latin America and the Caribbean in the COVID-19 post-pandemic era. With support funding from the government of Taiwan, 7 recipients were handed $25,000 to advance these opportunities. Today in Caye Caulker, one of the groups from the first cohort completed its seagrass and sea salt production project. News 5's Dwayne Moody files this report.
For some months now, 25 residents from Caye Caulker, primarily women, were engaged in a project carried out by the Caye Caulker branch of the Belize Tourism Industry Association. They were trained and developed skills of sea salt sequestration and seaweed processing. Project coordinator Selena Jimenez says that the project, which was approved by the Ministry of Blue Economy, concluded successfully this morning.
They took introduction to the blue economy. They also took the creation of salt, smart farming, pricing of products, packaging, labeling of products, as well the seaweed farming, which we are grateful that we have the Placencia team here as well, and they help us with the trainings.
There were persons from different walks of life that participated in the project, including Fisherwoman of the Year 2021, Maria Allen. For decades, fishing has provided income and sustenance to Allen and her family, who annually harvest lobsters and crabs. For Allen, a woman doing a man's job is no longer taboo, and now she's incorporating seaweed farming into the business.
As a fisherwoman, also I do the stone crab, right? And I do the lobster. So as a third income, which is the seaweed, it will all venture into one, because what happens is when we do the seaweed, it keeps the small fishes, the juvenile, lobster, different types of stuff that will live inside the seaweed, so it will also give it the sustainability for the other industries to come along.
Maria Young and her sister Veronica took a different approach. The natural resource seawater is boiled by the gallon to create sea salt. The Young sisters have taken that byproduct to create condiments and treats for their tables, and possibly yours too. There was even a seaweed chai tea.
So right outside here, we make our own sea. We get the water, we boil it. It's a process, and I also experimented and did a few different things. So our products is more than one. We have multiple things. We have chutney. We have conch soup, but it's also with seaweed. So seaweed chutney, grusea chutney, conch soup with seaweed, sea salt that has a seaweed in it. What else? I have to look at this so that I can see everything. Oh, our breadfruit. We have fried breadfruit, but it was soaked in the seaweed and sea salt brine. Our rice is made with seaweed and sea salt. We also did a seaweed salt, and we have a seaweed sea salt, and it's garlic salt, garlic flavored. The world and the sky is the limit. Whatever you can think, you can possibly make, and it's all edible, all seaweed and sea salt. Seaweed has a lot of nutritional value, so it brings another superfood to our plate.
It's a historical moment and a successful blue economy project.
It's an important indication of our ministry's commitment to inclusion, innovation, and empowerment of women. But also, I might add that, of course, men are included as well. So I take this opportunity to thank our ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan to Belize, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade for providing the necessary support for making this initiative a reality. Thanks to this support and collaboration, the men and women of Caye Caulker are in a better position to take advantage of the opportunities provided by our blue space in Belize.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
The meeting between the joint union negotiation team and its government counterparts concluded just before news time this evening. There will be a second meeting scheduled for February 16th. Tonight, there is no word on whether there is a case for the reinstatement of the 10% pay cut. When we spoke to union leaders following the meeting, they informed us that they are not in a position to make any declaration until after that February 16th meeting.
We received some of the information that we had requested before the meeting, and then coming here, we received additional information. We have agreed that we are going to be meeting on the 16th of February, and at that time, whatever other information we need to properly analyze, we will request that, and then that will be sent to us before that meeting on the 16th.
Are you satisfied with the amount of information, level of information, the depth of the information provided?
Well, I would not say we are satisfied, because you all know that we had requested a number of documents. And we have to now review what we have today based on what was presented and see, as I said before, exactly what is there. And so we believe that there is more information that we would need to properly assess the situation and to determine where we are in relation to how we are doing
So in terms of the picture presented as to the country's economic performance, Mr. PSU President, sir, share your thoughts with us. How good or how bad is the country's finances recovering?
It depends from what perspective you look at the current indicators or the numbers. The budget, as was presented last year, well, based on the numbers, the budget or the current fiscal position of the country is that they are performing well, or at least they supersede what was budgeted for this period that we looked at. But again, if you are somebody who is analytical, you can look at it from two perspectives. You can look at a historical perspective in terms of how those numbers were on both the revenue and expenditure side, and see if where we are is as a result of growth or recovery or improvement in our tax collection and our prudence in spending. You can look at it from that perspective and do an analysis and say, is this as a result of good fiscal management, or is this as a result of under budgeting? So, and hence the reason why, as the good sister said, there are some additional information that we want to look at. But just on the surface of things, the budget is well on course in terms of achieving a balanced budget. I want to state, of course, that we had some observation and we were not too pleased, of course, when we looked at some of the supplementals that were passed. There are additional supplementals that we were informed is expected to be passed before the fiscal year is out. Those things do impact on the economic situation of the country and on the budget as it relates to the commitment that government made to public sector workers. And so we'll just have to wait and see how that conversation goes on the 16th of February and taking into consideration the additional information that we're given, that has been promised to us.
Up next, the sugar cane is processing, but some of it might cause the mill to shut down. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, Vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
It's a fact that your credit lasts longer when using Smart. During these times, we're all trying to find ways to cut costs and save the little resources we have. With Smart, it's easy to do that. It's a fact that with Smart, your credit lasts longer. You can call Smart to Smart and Smart to Digi using your promo credit, while with the other guy, you can only call OnNet, Digi, or BTL numbers. What does this mean? You get to call any national number using your promo credit. Your promo credit is free, so that call is also free. Know your facts. Don't be tricked by the other guy. Be smart and save your dollars.
Connecting people. Creating memories.
So here we are at the Glaze Out Kitchen. I just prepared this amazing broccoli.
Sharing a smile. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
At the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Marvin Manzanero was government's chief medical advisor in his then capacity as Director of Health Services. Notwithstanding the controversial changes in the Ministry of Health and Wellness since the Brisenia administration took over in November 2020, Dr. Manza, as most refer to him, has been closely following the evolution of the novel coronavirus. With the rapid spread of the Omicron variant late last year, many in the medical community, including doctors and scientists, are of the belief that this may very well signal the end of the pandemic. But the former DHS seems to have a different view. This morning, during an appearance on Open Your Eyes, Dr. Manza shared his opinion.
Just because you're having so many cases and your vaccination rates are not high across the globe is what drives the statement now to indicate that this is not the end, because it is anticipated that the virus will continue to evolve. So any new variant that comes along will have to be more contagious or infectious than Omicron, because in order for it to take any viability, for it to continue to spread on, it will have to be much more infectious than Omicron, or else Omicron, you see, like when you had the Delta variant that seemed to spread much more quickly than the previous variants that were there. Omicron came along, is much more infectious or much more contagious than the Delta variant. So whatever other variant comes around will have to be much more infectious, and that's the reason why you can't speak of a pandemic that its end is in sight. The two things that can potentially happen with a new strain, and which you hope don't happen, is that it is not much more deadly than Omicron is, and that it doesn't evade whatever successes have been had with the vaccines that are currently in circulation. So you can anticipate that you're going to have a much more infectious strain. We are going to hope that it is not more deadly and that it isn't evading vaccines that are in circulation.
According to Dr. Manzanero, what is equally of concern is the shortened time span when people can become reinfected with COVID. Omicron, he says, is capable of coming back.
In terms of strains, for example, Omicron, what it seems to do is it has learned how to evade immunity. So you can become, and that's why it's not, the term mild makes me a little bit uncomfortable, because you can get it more than one. I mean, recall that in the initial variants, you had people saying 6 to 9 months of natural immunity is what it seems to give you. But now we are noticing that people had COVID in November, early December last year, and I just met a colleague who recovered during the first week of December and tested positive on Monday.
Wow.
So, and symptomatic, you know, it's not just, you can't, it is a reinfection, then you can't say it is residual from what happened.
First, it was a blockage by cane farmers that delayed the start of the sugar crop. Now rocks, metals, and other debris are threatening to shut down operations at the Northern Sugar Mill, ASR BSI. The company announced today mud levels in the product are within the normal range. The presence of other materials is unusually high. Concerned that effects of these materials could be catastrophic, William Neal, Communications and Government Affairs Officer, said via Zoom that they are talking with the Sugarcane Producers Committee about the issue.
It has been just 1 month since the crop has started, and what is concerning to us at BSI is that we've seen extraneous material, which means anything from metals to sticks to rocks, showing up more frequently in the cane that is being delivered to the mill. And because of the process or how the mill works, as the cane is being prepared, it has to go through the hammers, through the knives, etc., which, as the name suggests for the knives, it seeks to cut it in smaller portions so that it can go through the mill easier. So obviously, when you have metal, coming in, it cannot cut at the knives. And then the hammers, which flattens the cane into something similar to what bagash looks like as a part of the preparation for it to go through the mill itself. You have the problem that it cannot crush that at the level that needs to be done for the preparation, and in fact, it damages the mill itself. So that is something that, because of the frequency and the sizes that we're seeing in terms of metals and rocks, that BSI has felt it necessary to write the cane farmer community, but at the same time, also do something publicly to register that we are extremely concerned about the extraneous matter that we see coming to the mill and the damage that it could do to the mill itself.
Is it perhaps as a result of a lack of due diligence on the part of the farmers?
Well, that's one of the things that we're encouraging the Sugarcane Production Committee to reinforce. There's been talk of a ban for quite some years to push pilers, which, when the cane cutters have finished cutting the cane, the push pilers come behind, and as the name suggests, it actually pushes and piles the cane so that it can then be loaded in the truck. Sometimes you will have, rocks or etc. being picked up, but that's one of the reaping practices that actually we've been pushing to actually eradicate and ban completely, simply because when you have weather situations, it means that it increases the mud that is also being collected. And it also increases the chances of rocks or metals being piled in with the cane in the first place.
In other news from the sugarcane belt, BSI has placed a permanent ban on Everaldo Oak, the putative president of the Corozal Sugarcane Producer Association. A letter to Oak from BSI's attorney dated January 18th accuses him of physically attacking Vladimir Pok and Jaime Norega with a metal object on BSI's property. The letter notes that the attack was witnessed by BSI's security personnel and captured by BSI's security cameras. He is now prohibited from entering the compound. In response, the Belize sugarcane producers issued an appeal for this to be rescinded or applied to all who perpetrated acts of violence in contravention of its policy, saying Oak was singled out. BSI says it must maintain the safety of all, and Oak may not be the only one to be banned.
When it comes to any kind of workplace violence, we have a zero tolerance for that. And it's important that all stakeholders feel safe when they come on our property, and we assume responsibility actually for their safety. It's a matter of ensuring that farmers have a clear, or all stakeholders have a clear message from BSI that it will not be tolerated. What we witnessed at the start of the crop this year is something that we don't want to see an increase in, and we definitely want to discourage farmers from engaging in any kind of violent altercations. While we have banned the individual, we have not banned access to the mill. So they're still able to have others deliver their cane to the mill, but they cannot enter our premises because we want to ensure that everyone, including our employees, including other farmers and other associations, feel safe as they conduct business at our premises. There is a letter that is issued to the individual that is banned, and you have within a week or so, you can make an appeal. And we do have an internal process that deals with that appeal. While Mr. Oak was the first person banned, we are continuing with our investigations, and we're using our closed captioned video footage to make sure, footage or video footage to make sure that we identify the individuals. It was very clear that Mr. Oak was one of the main perpetrators, and that's why that action was taken at this juncture.
The Department of Transport is introducing 16 new speed guns following a training session during which traffic wardens were taught how to use the device to determine the speeds at which motorists are traveling along the highways. The number of road traffic fatalities has been alarming, and not surprisingly, majority of those accidents are attributed to speeding. While legislation has been in place for some time, the department is fairly late with the implementation of speed guns. News 5 Isani Caetano has that story.
The use of radar guns in law enforcement to measure the speed of moving vehicles is being introduced by the Department of Transport in an effort to deter motorists from exceeding the designated speed limits across the country's highways.
Since there's been a lot of accidents, I would say, because of speeding, I guess this is like a good training for us.
Would you speak to how the training has been so far in terms of learning this device?
Well, it is going, I would say, good. Very, very straightforward in the instructor. So to me, I'm new to this, so now I would say that yes, I've learned a lot. And then, like I said, the instructor is very straightforward.
Tony Balona, along with several of his colleagues from the Department of Transport, is learning how to use the handheld device. The training is being provided by the government of Belize. Rodwell Ferguson is the Minister of Transport.
Legislation is already in place. Just have we never had the guns in place, so we were able to get the guns from the road safety project, and now we are now training these people that they can go back and train the others. So we are on the right track.
How many of these guns do you have, and where would they go?
We have 16, and they will go across the country based by population. So the Belize City area have much more traffic, then the majority will be in this region. Then we go to the Caye district, to the northern part, and then the southern part. But every district will get some.
What does the ministry hope to attain through the introduction of this equipment to road safety?
Well, we hope for the reduction of traffic accidents. While we are trying to protect the drivers and the passengers, it's for their own protection. But because we are trying to implement so many rules, then the people will get mad with us about the Department of Transport, but it's for their own safety.
Speed guns consist of a radio transmitter and a receiver. They send out a radio signal in a narrow beam, then receive the same signal back after it bounces off the target object. It's a procedure that, when done properly, can be tendered as evidence of speeding in a court of law.
Now we don't only know about how using it, but also how to align it. Like, for example, one of the alignment tests would be like the scope alignment. So he also instructed us or like teach us on how to fix the device. So now that we can just like really use it, because an example would be like at court, we need to have the device very properly aligned before just like going out there on the field and have a use of it.
According to Minister Ferguson, the idea is to reduce speeding on the highways. That message, he says, also applies to ministers of government.
You can pass a vehicle by your own knowledge and realize that it's going beyond 55 miles. With the gun now, it will specify and record it. That this vehicle will excess of the speed limit in this country. So we hope that we can reduce the speed on the highways. And this also goes to government vehicles, because sometimes we as ministers, our vehicle might be going at a certain speed to reach at a certain meeting. But we are also putting ourselves in danger. So if we can drive within a certain speed limit, we should be good.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I am Annalyn Apollonia. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.